morning, Chalice. Please join me in our gathering song. You are welcome here, wherever you're going to, wherever you're coming from. You are welcome here. You are welcome here, wherever you're going to, wherever you're coming from. You are welcome here, 'cause it's a house of love, a house of hope and dreams. It's a house of love. You are welcome here, 'cause it's a house of love, a house of hope and dreams. It's a house of love. You are welcome here. Second verse in Spanish. Bienvenido aquí. No quiere que vayas tú. No quiere que vengas hoy. Bienvenido aquí. Bienvenido aquí. No quiere que vayas tú. No quiere que vengas hoy. Bienvenido aquí a este lugar de amor, de sueños, de ilusión, a este lugar de amor. Bienvenido aquí, si es un lugar de amor, de sueños, de ilusión, a este lugar de amor. Bienvenido aquí. Good morning. Welcome to Chalice. We are a Unitarian Universalist congregation, and our mission is centered on love while also promoting social action, mutual connection, and spiritual inspiration. You are welcome here to be your true, unique self. Whether you gather with us 52 times a year or are with us this morning for the first time, we are glad you are here. I'm Ann McKernan, the worship associate today. Our service is led by our minister, Reverend Sharon Wylie. Our worship musician this morning is Tim McKnight, and our song leader is Callie Leaf. Our tech team is Jake Diock, Hope Campbell, and Finn Hayes. And our greeters this morning are Paul Cartwright, Susan Llewellyn, and Ralph Peters. Welcome to our Sunday worship service. Welcome to you here in the chapel and to you live on Zoom. For those of us in the chapel, if you're sitting in a row that is not full, please consider moving over toward the walls so the people that get here just a little late can find a seat. Also, as a reminder, please feel free to wear masks or step outside as needed for your comfort. You can hear what is happening inside, outside, on the courtyard. We are always thrilled to welcome newcomers to our worship services. If you're new, you may be interested in the various groups and activities we offer, which are listed in our email newsletter and calendar. Online newcomers will receive an invitation to join our email list after the service. If you're attending in person and haven't shared your email while signing in, please consider doing so before you leave. Our weekly email is the best way to stay informed about the many opportunities to connect and engage at Chalice. Now, let's take a breath together. Our hearts and minds for worship. We acknowledge Indigenous people with these words from Joy Harjo, a member of the Muskogee Nation. Eagle poem. To pray, you open your whole self, to sky, to earth, to sun, to moon, to one whole voice that is you, and know there is more that you can't see, can't hear, can't know, except in moments steadily growing and in languages that aren't always sound, but other circles of motion. Like eagle that Sunday morning over Salt River, circled in blue sky, in wind swept our hearts clean with sacred wings. We see you, see ourselves, and know that we must take the utmost care and kindness in all things. Breathe in, knowing we are made of all this, and breathe, knowing we are truly blessed because we were born and die soon within a true circle of motion. Like eagle rounding out the morning inside us, we pray that it will be done in beauty, in beauty. Now we light our chalice, the symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith. I'd like to invite Cindy Carter to light our chalice this morning. Chalice lighting words were written by the Reverend Lisa Garcia Sampson, The Great Turning. In these wild, historic, and uncertain times, we gather to remember who we are, who we belong to, and what we are called to do. As we light this chalice, we kindle the spirit of the Great Turning, the movement for justice alive in this nation today. May we feel it in our bones, and in the stillness of this hour, may we sense it calling our name. Whatever. The words of our call to worship come from my dear colleague, the Reverend Rod Richards. He wrote them 5 years ago, 5, in the earliest days of the pandemic. I've updated the words slightly for our still tumultuous times. We who gather here in this tender and anxious and confusing time, we have been awash in a sea of information and misinformation and disinformation. And the information that we seek is simply so that we may make wise decisions about how we respond.
and how we hold one another and decide how we can be. What is this we faced? How best do we respond? And why is this happening? The why, the why, the why. And why do those who suffer so suffer most, always suffer most from what we now face? Why? And what can we do for those who are most at risk, most vulnerable, all the time and now again? And how do we respond, and how do we hold one another? And how do we stay together and stick together and worship together? We are here, we are here together. Amen.
I just wanted to say a little something about our hymn of the month, which is number 131, Love Will Guide Us. Now, some of you may think you know this song, but if you think you know the song, I just want you to pretend that you don't, okay? Because we're kind of going to learn a little bit of a new version. The songwriter, when they published this in the original Gray Hymnal, there were lots of inexplicable changes that were made to the song. We're not really sure why. So we're trying to relearn the song with the words that the songwriter wrote, and a little bit more in the spirit that it was written in. So just be open to something new with this next song that we're about to sing. And if you don't know it already, then just consider yourself having an advantage, okay?
So this is our song of the month, and we'll sing it each Sunday this month to get more familiar with it, so we'll be more comfortable with it. So please rise in body or spirit to join in singing. Please be seated.
Our Sunday worship is a collective spiritual practice where we care for one another by sharing and honoring our joys and sorrows as a community. Here in the chapel, you are welcome to write your joy or sorrow onto a candle card, which will be collected from you. Online, please write your joy or sorrow, including your name, into the chat box. These joys and sorrows will be spoken out loud, and then we will remove this part of the service from the recording that goes onto our YouTube channel. If you would like to send Reverend Sharon a confidential note about your joy or sorrow, or to make a prayer request, please email her. Her email address will be on the screen in a moment. Please enjoy some music while you write down what you would like to share, so that in the sharing, your burden is lessened and your joy is multiplied.
Hold on a second. And we'll light a final pillar candle for the many more joys and sorrows on our hearts and in our community that may go unshared and unspoken this morning. These too are held in the love and support of our community. So we are spending our story time this month learning about the ocean while we contemplate the creatures that live in the ocean. So you're invited to come forward, if you, the littles especially, but anyone who'd like to come forward for the story.
Our story is called Over and Under the Waves, written by Kate Messner and illustrated by Christopher Silas Neal. This story takes place in Northern California in Monterey Bay. Over the waves we paddle, away from the beach to the water's deep blue. Sea lions bark from the rocks. One slips into the water. Whoosh, flip, sploosh. She dives beneath our boats and disappears into the deep. Where did she go? I ask. Out to the bay, Mom says. Under the waves is a whole hidden forest full of silverfish and squid, bat stars and sea anemones. We're paddling over them now. Over the waves, we slice through the current, matching our paddle strokes to push through the wind. Under the waves, kelp bass hunt, working together to surround smaller fish. Over the waves, pelicans soar. We try to keep up with Dad. Under the waves, anchovies play follow the leader in a shimmering silver school. Over the waves we paddle, riding the swells in the cool sea salt air. Soon we're floating in a forest of kelp that winds and tangles around our boats. I grab onto a strand and hold tight to keep from drifting away. Sea otters do that too, Mom says. Over the waves, a mama otter and her pup cuddle together, all wrapped up in strands of slippery brown-green. Under the waves, another otter follows the kelp strands, searching for red abalone and sea urchins. I take a break from paddling to lean back and look up, where shorebirds swoop and soar. They hang in the sky until just the right moment to strike. Under the waves, leopard sharks prowl the seafloor, while a wolf eel lurks in a crevice, waiting for prey to pass. Look! Dad points, and way in the distance, sprays of mist fountain up from the waves. Humpback whales have surface to breathe. We paddle out for a closer look. The bay has gone quiet. We wait, rising and falling on the swells. Under the waves, pale moon jellies float, and sea nettles drift, swinging with the slow current. We should head back, Mom says. But then... whoosh! Our humpback whales lunge to the surface, mouths open to feast on sardines. They crash back down with a splash and a surge. Wow! Our boats rock as the whales dive once more. A slow, smooth arch, a swoosh of their tails, and then they're gone under the waves. Over the waves, the wind grows brisk. I shiver and zip my jacket as we turn and head for home. Now you blend in with the boat, Mom laughs. Down below, a giant octopus swims over the sand. And then it changes color to match the rocks and disappears. A camouflage magic trick under the waves. Over the waves, we paddle toward shore. The tide's coming in now and helps us along. We steer between the pilings of the wharf. Below, striped sea perch circle. Barnacles pull in their feathery feet, while tree fish and prawns tuck away in the rocks. We ride a big wave right onto the beach as the sun melts into the sea. Sea stars cling to the rocks in the tide pools, and anemones glisten in the last light of day. While Mom pulls up our boat, I search for shells at the shoreline and spell out my name in the sand. At the edge of the waves, a decorator crab collects bits of seaweed and sponge. His shell is his canvas and home. With wave-wobbly legs and paddle-sore arms, we climb the stairs toward home. It's time for Nana's spaghetti and meatballs, then chocolate chip cookies and bed. I can still hear the sea behind me, a shushing ocean lullaby as the moon rises over the waves. They rock the dreaming sea perch in their drifting forest of kelp, the luminous jellyfish and deep-diving whales, the delicate anemones and vanishing octopus. Tonight, stars of the sky meet stars of the sea in the secret world under the waves. Our story is called
As the children leave for their classes, we join in singing. Walk on your path with a song so sweet that everywhere you go there is love all around. Walk on your path with a song so sweet and everywhere you go there is love all around.
We have a potluck after church, and the kids are making pizza, so I know you don't want me to talk for half an hour. I'll work on it. We're contemplating theological questions this year, more than usual, in a series. And this morning's question, so timely: why is there suffering? Why is the world so terrible? Why does it have to be so hard? This area of theological questioning is called theodicy, Theodicy. It's the only one that we're talking about that isn't an ology. It's not the study of. It comes from two Greek words, theos, which we're used to, God, and thete, spelled D-I-K-E, which is justice. Because the question we wonder is, is life fair? Because we observe that it's not. Good things happen to bad people, bad things happen to good people. And humans have been wondering why it has to be this way for thousands of years. The book of Job in the Hebrew Bible and Christian Old Testament wrestles with that question. Why is it this way? And when we feel grounded and centered, it may not seem like that heavy a question, but I think of all of these theological questions, this is the one that most of us wrestle with at some point in our lives, no matter how rational and science-minded we think we are. We have our moments where we feel like, why is this happening to me? Why me? Maybe it's not the first hard thing that happens, but when the second one follows on, and you start, we're meaning-seeking people. We look for patterns, and we want sort of cause and effect to go together. And so we start to wonder, have I done something to deserve what's happening? Have we done something to deserve what's happening? As a minister and as a hospital chaplain, I've been with people many times at those hard moments. And we tend to want to hurry past them. Those are uncomfortable questions, or we know that they're maybe not that sensical. And I think the question to ask at that time, what I ask people is, what are you afraid you have done to warrant what is happening to you? We have these deep, irrational fears that I don't know. We had a mean thought, and then something bad happened, and we wonder if those are connected. So sort of the definitive wrestling with this question comes from Rabbi Harold Kushner and his book, When Bad Things Happen to Good People. I didn't check to see. It's been around for decades. (1981). And he wrote this after the death of his 14-year-old son. And he had known since his son was a baby, a toddler, that he would not live to adulthood. And he knew all those years that he would write a book wrestling with this question. And it was about 1.5 years after his son died that he felt ready to write it. And, as a religious person, as a religious leader, he had that wondering of, he's trying to live a good life. Why did this happen to him? And maybe even more profoundly, what had his son ever done to deserve this short life? And the answer, I think we know, is nothing. That life is full of hardships, and gravity exists. Our human bodies are frail. Sort of the laws of physics in the universe apply to all of us. But again, in our meaning seeking, sometimes we know people who ascribe more meaning than that, and that's when we get into tricky territory. So Rabbi Kushner talks about that there are sort of 3 beliefs that people have, but they can't go together. They don't work together. That's why there's sort of this eternal struggling with these questions. And the 3 beliefs are that God can control everything, that God is fair and just, and that good people are rewarded for their goodness, and maybe the accompanying belief that bad people are punished for their badness. But you can't believe all 3 of those things together, because we can see that bad things happen to good people all the time. And so for theists, the wondering, the questioning of if God could stop that, why does God allow that? Or maybe is God not fair? That's not how most faith traditions envision God. And whether you're theist or atheist, many of us feel that there is an energy of love in the world. We talk about that in our faith tradition, having love at the center, and in our congregation specifically, love at the center. But we know that that's something we have to work for. So sometimes that feels like that's happening organically, but sometimes it feels that that's aspirational. So I just want to name, because I feel like there will be people who want to dismiss these questions. I have been with atheists at their moments of wondering, why is this happening to me? It is not simply a question of whether you believe in God or not. We want the universe to make sense, and it doesn't always. I think it does, but it's just that we're not promised lives of ease and comfort. And we will, each of us, have times of struggle, and some people will have really hard times of struggle. And, that's sort of the core of the teaching. This is how life is. And if you want to go really deeper with these questions, I recommend the book to you. In the Ask Me Anything service last year, someone asked a question I didn't have time to answer that I feel is related. So this question about why is there suffering is tied up with our questions about what is the nature of evil? Are humans good or bad? These questions all go together. All of the theological questions go together, but there's several that are tied up in this. And so the question that I received at that service was, if we sometimes use the language of saying that we're blessed, does that mean that some people are cursed? So I thought that was a great question and worth our time, and related to this. Are some people cursed? That's behind the question. Why me? Why is this happening to me? The idea of blessings is a multi-faith concept. Most of the world religions can use the language of blessing. And I think that what it points towards and I sign many of my emails like blessings, comma, Reverend Sharon. If I were being more formal with you, I would sign it bright blessings. That's like the full pagan signature to the email, but I'm casual. But I think most faith traditions would say that blessings are abundant and available to all of us. And so when we say we're feeling blessed or we're counting our blessings, what we're naming is that we're aware of the blessings and the goodness of life that are always available to us. Because there's times we find it hard to plug into that, right? There's times we are feeling angry and down and have to remind ourselves to plug back into, we could just as easily call them gratitudes. I've encouraged folks to have a gratitude practice when you're feeling down and try to name 5 things you're grateful for. That can often result in a shift in how we're feeling. So, so the correct teaching, we don't use this kind of language much in Unitarian Universalism, so I'm using this very intentionally. The correct teaching is that blessings are available to all of us. None of us are cursed. Whatever we call our interdependence, God does not curse us. We are all loved. We are all blessed. And I want to emphasize, I've been with many people at their lowest moments. I've been with homeless people. They can all name their gratitudes and their blessings. Sometimes at our lowest moment is when we feel most grateful, most blessed by friends and family, by a dinner, by a warm blanket. And when we have seasons of our lives that we can't make contact with those gratitudes, with those blessings, that's usually a sign that we're struggling with depression or some other kind of mental illness. It is sort of part of our human experience to be able to find our gratitude and our sense of blessing in our lives. So there are faith traditions, there are some churches that will teach, maybe not the word cursed, but there are people who are bad and being punished for their badness. And I just want to say definitively that those teachings are wrong. Those teachings are wrong. So I wanted to read a part of Rabbi Kushner's book to us. Not too long, but I think it helpful to us in our times. Do you remember the biblical story in chapter 32 of Exodus about Moses when he came down from Mount Sinai and saw the Israelites worshiping the golden calf? He threw down the tablets of the 10 Commandments so that they shattered. There is a Jewish legend that tells us that while Moses was climbing down the mountain with the 2 stone tablets on which God had written the 10 Commandments, he had no trouble carrying them, although they were large, heavy slabs of stone, and the path was steep. After all, though they were heavy, they had been inscribed by God and were precious to him. But when Moses came upon the people dancing around the golden calf, the legend goes, the words disappeared from the stone. They were just blank stones again, and now they became too heavy for him to hold on to. We could bear any burden if we thought that there was a meaning to what we were doing. Have I made it harder for people to accept their illnesses, their misfortunes, their family tragedies, by telling them that they are not sent by God as part of some master plan of God's? Let me suggest that the bad things that happen to us in our lives do not have a meaning when they happen to us. They do not happen for any good reason which would cause us to accept them willingly. But we can give them a meaning. We can redeem these tragedies from senselessness by imposing meaning on them. The question we should be asking is not, why did this happen to me? What did I do to deserve this? That is really an unanswerable, pointless question. A better question would be, now that this has happened to me, what am I going to do about it? The Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said that the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. And he said that to us to comfort us that our hard work of justice seeking and justice making may not bear immediate results that we can see, but that we could have faith that in a longer view we were making progress. And you should be aware that that sentence of his, which has become very famous, is inspired by and drawn from the words of a Unitarian minister, Theodore Parker, written in the 1850s on that topic. But my concern in the decades that we have been repeating that to ourselves, that we're in danger of absolving ourselves from action. This is sort of the core of theological belief. We have to question it and see if it holds up. And I think that holds up, but we have to not use it as an excuse to not do anything and say like, well, the arc of the moral universe is long, but it's heading in the right direction. We don't have to do our part. The arc of the moral universe bends toward justice because we work toward justice. We work relentlessly toward justice. We rest and take care of ourselves because we need to in these hard times. And then we keep doing the work of trying to mend what is broken, of trying to help the vulnerable, trying to protect trans people and immigrants, and keep moving forward. Our work is to ask ourselves, now that this has happened to us, what are we going to continue to do about it? Blessed be.
Please rise in body or spirit to sing together hymn 203 in the gray hymnal, All Creatures of the Earth and Sky. Hallelujah, hallelujah.
The Sunday offering is an expression of the generosity that makes our congregational life possible. These words come from Fred Rogers. All of us, at some time or other, need help. Whether we're giving or receiving help, each one of us has something valuable to bring to this world. That's one of the things that connects us as neighbors. In our own way, each one of us is a giver and a receiver. We encourage you to text your donation to Chalice if you haven't texted a donation before. Once you text the amount, you'll get a reply with a link to enter your credit card information. If your Sunday donation is meant to be part of your pledge payment, please be sure to indicate pledge after the dollar amount. The phone number for text donations will be on screen in a moment. If you prefer to make an in-person donation of cash or check, there are envelopes and a donation box to the left of the chapel double doors. You can leave those donations after the service. Please give generously. Please join in dedicating our offering with words of affirmation. At Chalice UU congregation, love is at the center of everything we do.
Five years ago, almost to the day, it was 5 years ago yesterday, on March 1st, 2020, the Chancel Choir sang a beautiful song called Come In from the Firefly Darkness by Amy Buehrens. I originally picked that song 5 years ago just to mark the beginning of Women's History Month. At the time, we had no idea that it would be the last time we would be able to sing together for a very long time. The words of the song tell the story of a person who's asking to come back inside after a long time away from their friend. They long to sing with their friend once again. So it turned out to be quite poignant and relevant, and how deeply we all longed to be able to sing with each other again. So we're going to sing this song for you again now.
From end to end.
Will you join me in the spirit of prayer? Spirit of life, spirit of love that connects us one from another. Comfort us in our times of sorrow and struggle. Help us find courage and clarity to keep moving forward, keep finding ways to fight for justice and to speak up and be visible for our values. Help us be visible to others who need community and support in these hard times. Help us, loving Spirit, help us celebrate and find laughter together. Help us stay in touch with our blessings and gratitude. Help us rest and find joy when we can, that we are strengthened for the times that we are in. Spirit of life, keep us together, keep us moving forward. Amen.
Please rise in body or spirit to sing together hymn number 128, For All That Is Our Life, in the gray hymnal. Please be seated.
Our closing words come from Reverend William G. Singford. Spirit of life and love, dear God of all nations, there is so much work to do. We have only begun to imagine justice and mercy. Hold us fast to our vision of what can be. May we see the hope in our history and find the courage and the voice to work for that constant rebirth of freedom and justice. That is our dream. Blessed be. You are invited to close our time together by singing the well. After our closing hymn, please return to your seats for an announcement or two.
We drink from the well together, cool, cool water that quenches my thirst. Thirst for justice, thirst for joy, thirst for a love that we're all a part of. We drink from
Quick announcement that we do have chalice spiritware for sale. So it's pre-order. So there's order sheets. Out there on the bulletin board, but also probably even easier, whichever, online, where you can just go and order what you'd like. And Jessica Meller and I decided to do this, so we hope that everybody would like to participate.
All right, today kicks off round 2 of our March Madness. So there's a queue, the site is launched, so we've narrowed from 16 pairs of animals and plants down to 8. We're voting on our favorite Pacific Ocean dweller. We did this last March with a different category, and I just want to name both. This is a way for us to have fun together, but also to respect and learn about the beauty of the environment and the world we live in. So there's a QR code out here on the courtyard. You can vote just here this morning. You'll also be getting an email, assuming you're on our email list, with a link to the site. And if you're someone who's not on our email list or has trouble with this technology, grab someone else who's here and you can vote using their phone and get their help this morning. There's nothing that prohibits you from voting more than once except your own conscience. But that means you can help each other with the voting. So yes, and I hope you'll be here on March 23rd when we will announce the winner of our March Madness. Next.
It's the Sweet 16, Tim. Get excited.
Hi, this is just a reminder that this Saturday coming up, that earlier this year we started a new series on Saturdays once a month called Soul Intentions. And it's an opportunity to kind of recharge with intention setting, guided meditations, guest healers, and particularly free childcare for those of you who need that. So it's the second Saturday. It's coming up March 8th, which is this upcoming Saturday. We'd love to see you here. So it's Saturdays at 3 o'clock.
Okay, today is the day of the Chalice Improv Comedy Auction event. It's going to be here in the chapel at 12:30. It's going to be after the potluck that's going to be on the patio when you go out there. So we hope everyone will stay for the potluck, but then we hope that you will come to the comedy event afterwards. It's an auction event, so it's $10 per person, $20 per family. It is kid appropriate, child appropriate, so please do that. And you can come and just watch, but we hope that you will be inspired to join in because it's really fun to do the games we're doing, like the game we're going to do right now, which is called Three-Headed Broadway Singer. Okay, so I need the name of an unlikely musical. That unlikely. Minnesota. I heard Minnesota. Okay, now what is the searing love song highlight from the musical Minnesota? Cheese. Okay. Cheese for you and me. Okay. Now, our three-headed singer is going to sing the love song Cheese for You and Me from the hit musical Minnesota, but they're going to do it one word at a time. Each one has no idea what the next word is going to be from the person coming out, and they're going to go in a row and they're going to make this song up on the spot. And they have no idea what music is going to come.
Cheese is my favorite food. And if the best crackers crumble into the bag of yours lakes
To end, please.
Okay, our,
Enjoy the potluck. Please make sure that as you get your food, we weren't sure if it was going to rain, so it's set up under the overhang by the what is that called? The hub. So once you get your food, please move back out so other people can have room to move around. Okay, thank you.
So our social hour will continue out on the courtyard. If you'd like to visit our online congregants, you can join them in the green room. Reverend Sharon and I look forward to greeting you at the chapel doors to hear how the service was meaningful to you. Have a wonderful day.